So for our next recipe, so as caregivers, lots of time and energy is spent on caring for others. So it is really important to take care of yourself. And one of the ways to do so is to eat well. And so this recipe is something that is quick and easy and really will be able to have all the things that you need to put in one meal. And we're looking at saving time. So cooking in a one-pot dish to save time cooking, to save time cleaning, and really being able to care for yourself and also spend time with others.
Yes. So this is sort of a two-part recipe. The first thing I want to teach you is sort of a prep, an organizational technique to get some of the prep out of the way. And this is sort of like a soup starter. Sometimes it's known as a mirepoix, but it's pretty much a bunch of aromatic vegetables that you would use to start a soup, a stew, a sauce, a roasted chicken dish, whatever it may be. But there is quite a bit of, not quite a bit, but there is definitely a lot of prep that goes into putting this together, right? So this is one thing that I try to do ahead of time. I was actually inspired by someone I was talking to who, when they go visit their parents, they make bags of this for every person on their floor. And that way they put it in their freezer. And they just use the food processor, they pulse all these veg up, and that way when you're making a quick soup, stew, whatever it is, you just pop one of these things in there. So this is what I want to show you today. You can definitely change up the veg. I'm going pretty classic. I have some carrots, which you're going to put in. And you can even, depending on the size of your food processor, you can even leave them in larger chunks. I just sort of roughly chopped them. Got some chunks of onion. Put these in here. I have some fennel. You would usually see celery, but I prefer fennel. So we're going to put that in there as well. You can throw some garlic cloves in here. And I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste as well. So this sort of gives you a really nice savoriness and punch of flavor in your soups and stocks. But I could add peppers to this. I could add chilies to this. There's different styles depending on the culture. You might see more garlic, or you might see just celery and onion. So you can customize this whatever you want. But what I love about it is you make, like this is one batch, you can triple this or quadruple this. And we'll pulse it up. Just to break it down. Now, it's not going to be the most even, but for starting a soup or stew or sauce, it doesn't really, matter. We just want the flavor and the aromas there. So you can see how we have sort of this minced combination of all these vegetables now, right? Yeah. This is all it takes. And now you can set your freezer up for a lot of the prep that would go into making a dish that might take you a little longer. So this will actually save you some time. So this you could portion into muffin tins. That's sort of my favorite way. You can put it into a freezer bag and just thinly layer it out. And show you what it looks like.
And it's also a great way to get some vegetables in too, right? We're always talking about the different colors. So in this, dish, as a starter, you'd be seeing oranges and whites, depending on what vegetables you're using. But at least it's prepared for you, right? So you have it on the get-go to start.
Yeah. So I did one batch, but I mean, you can do, definitely scale it up. And this is kind of what it looks like, right? Pour a little bit of olive oil on top too, and then when you throw it in the pan, it's all in there. You can throw it from frozen like this. So take it out. There you go. So you can kind of see what it looks like. Everything's kind of frozen in there, and we have our cubes ready to go. So this is going to definitely cut a lot of the cooking time down, for sure.
Yeah, and it's also a kind of a start for somebody who, you know, is relying on their caregiver maybe to do most of the cooking. And so times when you might feel well and not, you know, wanting to chop and wash everything, having something like this as a starter to, you know, get whatever it is that you want to make ready is something that you could, you know, gives you a head start to making a meal. And then you're feeling like you're able to be in the kitchen and do your own food cooking as well.
So that was the first part of the recipe. But again, this you can apply to anything, right? This is just sort of a little trick. And now for the actual recipe itself. You may have seen some of these really ornate looking vegetables on the side here. Actually, I have to give a shout out to my aunt. She grew these in her backyard, and I'm really happy that she gave them to me and to share in the kitchen. They're called gooseneck squashes. You can probably see why. But there's so many different varieties of squash that you can choose from. Now, we love using squash. We've been really using squash in our classes. But we love the orange vegetables as well. So we're gonna make a really nice, tasty, savory, comfort-y squash curry.
Yeah.
And so we have a few different types of squash here. I have just some of your regular butternut squash. I have, these are kombucha squash. And I'm just doing sort of big chunks of this. I might cut this one up a little bit. You can, now again, there's prep, definitely a lot of prep involved with squash, but you can definitely use the pre-prepped ones. They have pre-cut ones in grocery stores. They have frozen butternut squash I've seen now, cubed in grocery stores. You can use that.
And we repeat this all the time, but using frozen vegetables or fruit is just as nutritious as fresh. So, you know, why not make your cooking time and the prep time easier on you? So definitely go out and find those frozen versions.
If you have just the whole squash, you can even throw it in the oven. Roast it whole like this, and this is gonna make it a lot easier to prep as well. So I just threw this in the oven, maybe about 30 minutes. This is a small guy, but you can go up to about 50 minutes. And it's definitely a lot easier. Like really soft, it's already done. It's gonna take, again, a lot of that prep out for you. We'll just throw a couple pieces of this in here too.
Yeah, and so we're including the fiber here, the skin, so that's including more fiber into the dish. But, you know, if you're having some stomach issues or you wanna, you could always remove that, take it away.
Okay, so we have our squash in there. I'm gonna add 2 pucks of our frozen mirepoix. We're gonna just throw that in there like this. And we're gonna season it up. So this is a little curry powder that we made, but you can use that in like any store-bought. Or if you're not a fan of the curry powders, you can season it with anything. You can put some smoked paprika on there, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, might be really nice. But this is definitely gonna give it a ton of flavor. So we'll just sprinkle this over top. I already have my olive oil in there, but I just want to add a little bit more just to coat it. Like this, and a pinch of salt, and that's it. So this can go into the oven for about 30 minutes, 400 degrees, to cook down. And this one was not hiding. So this is what we're looking at now. All those flavors have really, really concentrated. You can see the vegetable prep just sort of broke down a little bit, and we have a lot of beautiful, really nice color.
Yeah.
Now this we're just doing all in one pan. You can definitely do this on top of a pot too, but I like the oven, sort of what it does, and that sort of circulation of heat really, really concentrates the flavors. So at this stage here, we're gonna add our liquid. So you can put some water or stock in there, and do this as it's hot, because you'll be able to pick up all those sort of brown bits on the bottom of the pan.
And you could use, maybe you have a stock that you've made at home and that's frozen. You just defrost it. Or you can use a store-bought one. You just want to make sure that it's a reduced sodium version, right?
Yeah, and any liquid, like I said, even with a little bit of water there, just because we have the mirepoix, there's already a ton of flavor. And then we're going to add some coconut milk. So we're making a really nice, rich, tasty curry. And again, if you don't like coconut milk or you don't want to use coconut milk, just go with the stock, and then you can even add a little bit of yogurt at the end. Mm-hmm. But we're going to stir this through. You guys smell the flavor from this? Yeah, so definitely a lot of flavor, a lot of aroma. And then, so that's pretty much it. And then at this point, we can add any of our cooked beans. We're going to add chickpeas and spinach, and we're going to actually use frozen ones. So again, these are things that are already done, washed, cooked, prepped, good to go.
Yeah. So you're getting here, you have your vegetables, your orange vegetables. We're adding spinach, so it's your greens, and then you have your chickpea, which is your protein, right? And then we're going to put it on top with brown rice, and so that's really making a balanced meal. You want to make sure you have lots of color, extra color. And so spinach is a great source of iron and calcium and magnesium. And actually, when it's cooked, your body absorbs it better. So you might need more because when you have cooked spinach, it kind of shrinks down. Having both raw and cooked is good. But in this recipe, we're using cooked. And again, it's helping with absorb some of the essential nutrients that you need.
I'm going to add a little bit of minced ginger as well. Again, just to brighten it up. Any last minute spices you can put at this point here. But that's pretty much it. So, if you have that prepped veg done, frozen, ready to go, and you're using a couple frozen ingredients, in terms of working time, it shouldn't take too much. And that way you're getting to enjoying the dish a lot faster. Yeah. Especially as a caregiver, you have to be sure that you're taking care of yourself. Yeah. As well. And
you could also do this in, make an extra batch, right? So, yeah. You put in the time now to make it and cook it, and then you freeze it because you may have more portions, and then, you could take it out for later on.
All right, so I have different levels. We have the finished one. So this is what we're looking for right here. Wow. And obviously we made a bigger batch to feed everyone here, but really nice concentrated flavors. And then, you can put cilantro if you want on there. No, I know.
I know. I thought that was just about the same.
I know. Well, if you don't like cilantro,
you could use basil.
Use parsley or use nothing. I'm in control of cilantro today, so I'll put a little bit. That's the last part. You can squeeze a little bit of lime juice on. If you like it spicy, throw some chilies on top of there. We're serving it with some brown rice, that's pretty much it. I just want to show you with the spoon, but it's really, really nice and creamy and comforting. Yeah. That's our squash curry recipe. Done, ready to go. Beautiful. You don't have to applause every time, but I'm kind of used to it now. Sound good?
Yeah.
Smell good? Yeah.